When I traced my family roots back, it led back to Pennsylvania, and it led back to a branch of the Delaware, a branch of the Algonquin known as the Delaware, who referred to themselves as the Lenape, which means the original people. The original people, that's what it means. That's why you read the preamble, we the people, they refer to them as original people. Now, my family always thought it was talking about Mahoney. I found out they were connected with the Mahoney Delawares. And so that made me do all kinds of research into their culture. And now I'm actually the spiritual keeper of the lands of the Delaware, and known as the branch of the Delaware known as the Sewanoi in the Bronx, which is the largest wooded area in New York City, larger than Central Park. And I'm the one who actually go back there, and I'm the one who keep up the ancestral rights and everything on that land. I know all the lands. I know which tribe rule all the lands in New York City. I know about the lands, and I'm the only one actually in a lot of these lands who actually carry out the ancestral rights in this day and time. And that land, and also I found out that the Crows, in the lands in New York City, the Crows control the land. They are the protectors of the land. In New York City, when you go to all the wooded areas, you will always find crows. And the shamans took on these forms. The reason why the shamans took on the form of the crows is because they knew that nobody messed with the crows. Nobody hunt the crow, nobody mess with the crows. They leave the crows alone and respect the crows. When I first started going on the back of that land, the crows used to set up gates that I had to pass through. And I remember when I would be walking, they would one land here, one would land here. And to walk under their gaze, it was like almost one of the most frightening experiences I ever had. And just recently, I brought my uncle back there to that land. He was the one who got me into going into the woods. And I brought him back there. He came back there to make me a staff from a tree. And right when we got to the spot where we make the staff, hundreds and hundreds of crows came. I was actually scared. I never seen so many crows come at one time. And I knew this was a clan gathering of all the crows that maintained all the ancestral areas, all the wooded areas in New York City, all converged at that time as if they had to be there when I got that staff. And it was powerful. One came and flew right directly over it as we was cutting it down. That land back there is very, very powerful. It's the ceremonial grounds. I know all the ceremonial sites back there. I know almost every inch of it. And I'm also into herbology, natural herbology. So I go back, I get all my plants, my yellow dock, my sassafras root, my white oak bark, my sassafras bark, I study all the plants back there. So when I was reading about the nanny coats and they mentioned all the plants they use for medicine, those are plants I use all the time going back there. And I also found something else back there, a certain hallucinogenic plant, which they call Jimson weed. And I began to do certain things with that, and that just opened me up to all kinds of things. It's science that we work in. What we got to do is tune into our intuition, because our spirituality is based on nature. And when we tune in with nature, that allows our intuition, our spirituality to unfold. So it's very important that you begin now to associate yourself with the different wooded areas down here and begin to go there and pay recognition to the ancestors, because the ancestors here are seeking recognition. We were so busy looking elsewhere. They in here on the earth saying, what about us? And everybody's overlooking them. That's why I know what I'm doing. Brothers come up to me and say, brother, I fear for your life. Many brothers in New York City came and told me that. I fear for your life with what you're doing. I said, I don't worry about it, 'cause I know the ancestors got my back. Because there's nobody else up in this whole part of New York City carrying out the ancestral rights I'm doing up here. So naturally they want to maintain me, because I'm going to pass it down to my children. I take them out there to the woods. My children say, Daddy, how come we don't go to the church or the mosque or this like that? I said, this is our church. This is our mosque, right out here in the open woods. This is where we come to worship, right out here. And I show them all the ancestral rights. I show them the plants. Whenever they get sick, I let them go pick their own medicine. I let them approach the plant and stroke the plant, tell the plant what they need the plant for. And the plant it fills you out and sends the chemicals to the leaves in the right proportion that you need it in. We got to begin to tune into that. I almost like I live two lives. One life out here and one life in the woods. I'm always in the woods. My wife knows when she wants to Hakim, he's in the woods. He's back. I live back there, carrying out the ancestral rights. One time I remember I took on the form of a crow, and I crossed the marsh, the lake, and I'm looking at myself. I'm over there looking at myself on the other side of the lake. This is science. We don't realize who we are and how we have to tie in with the ancestors and the spirituality here. There's many things I've done I shouldn't have been able to done. Right now in New York City, I may be the only person who has a 3-bedroom apartment who haven't paid rent in 3 years. Because I made it to an ancestral shrine. The whole apartment's an ancestral shrine, and the ancestors said, don't worry about the rent. I haven't paid rent 3 years up there. The whole apartment is an ancestral shrine. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going to the ancestral shrine. I'm spending 3 nights with the ancestors. I go stay there. No phone, nothing in there. I have to stay in there with the ancestors. All this is dealing with the ancestors. Everything I'm doing is being commissioned by the ancestors. And I dealt with Yoruba priests. They helped me set up my shrine. They told me what I had to do and the things I had to do, and I'm just doing it. Simple as that.
You mentioned the Japanese emperor making some kind of remark, but what was the remark about the B-boys?
He made a remark about black people being not educated.
Being the problem with America is black people.
Right.
As far as education.
And yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned something about them studying us. I work at the post office, and where we have a lot of mail coming down the slides.
Mm-hmm.
Box, package, big package fell open, and it was addressed to someone in Japan. It was mailed from New York, and it was going to Japan, but it stopped here in Atlanta somehow.
Mm.
And it was books by W.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Garvey.
Mm.
It really blew my mind.
Yes.
I thought other people could witness what I'd seen. This box of books coming from out of New York, addressed to
Yes. Yes. They know who we are. The Japanese are the descendants of the undefeated Moorish Marines. This is why when you look at the lessons of Honorable Elijah Muhammad dealing with the mother plane and the baby ship UFOs, it says in the lesson that the mothership and the UFOs was built on the island of Nippon or Japan in 1929. Because the Japan was actually commissioned, was actually contracted by the Ascended Masters to build. Japan and Germany was two of the most advanced economic industrial powers at that time. And what happened was the Ascended Masters, who was running the whole show, which he refers to as the 24 scientists or the 24 elders round about the throne, commissioned Japan to build these things. Now, they didn't know what they was building at the time. This one got the blueprints for the engine. This one got the blueprints for... They didn't know what was eventually going to be put together and then stationed in Antarctica. Later on, when Hitler, the Nazis, made the pact with Japan, they came in on it, and they was building UFOs along with them. But not for them, for us, because the Ascended Masters was behind the whole thing. Later on, when Germany was defeated, all that technology, all that knowledge was shipped over to the United States of America, and that's what's dealing with Area 51 and all that stuff like this. That technology is here. All that's here. And all that comes from our Ascended Masters who run the federal government to this day. Because the federal government is really circles within circles, and the innermost circles, the Ascended Masters is running the show. They waiting to see what we're going to do. Because they're not going to outright just come and do it for us. It's up to us to do it.
You mentioned the year 580 years that were added.
Right.
The number 580 breaks down to 13. Now it's one that means...
Oh, yeah.
13 colonies.
Yes, indeed. Yes, you know, brother. Right about there, all them 13s on there. And they tell you it's an unlucky number. Many buildings in Manhattan, in New York, that you go to, there's no 13th floor. Now it's always a wonder. I said, why there's no 13? You know, it goes from 12, 14 on the... I'm like, what's the 13th floor? They say the reason why they do it because they, you know, there's a bad luck number. If it's so bad luck, why come it's all over the dollar bill? Because really, that's the master's number, 13. Coming from the 13th letter, which is M, the master. And that deals with Jesus and the 12 disciples, or the sun and the 12 zodiac signs. And even the witches' coven is good or bad. The witches' coven used the number 13, the master with the 12, and the same thing for good or bad. The same sign. 13 is the master's number. And I know I got to get ready to wind down in a minute. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's apparent that this lady, the Empress of Washington, I want to hear your feelings on that. She says that she has the birthright to be the Empress.
Yes.
The question is, do the different splinter groups of the Moors come together under her, or do they represent a different independent nation of Moors?
No, the Empress is of major importance. Just her very existence alone, the job is done. Just what she has already done in her existence, dealing with the Washington Moors, and the information that she has found and what she has done in reclaiming that 70,000 acres of land, and also having the Spanish land tracts for the other 3.8 million acres going from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada, the Empress is a major part of all of this. At this point in time, all the Moors have not, as of yet, united under the Empress, because see, what the Moors going to have to do, what we're going to have to eventually do is that we're going to have to form a Moorish National Congress. With all the different Moorish national groups all send their delegations and their representatives to be represented, so that this Moorish National Congress can handle issues on a national scale that affect all of us. You see what I'm saying? And then we form different committees, and there's you know, I have drawn up all kinds of plans for putting together structures of governments, curriculums, all the whole nine. But I know it's not time for a lot of these things yet, but these things are coming. And what we're going to have to do, like I said, is form a Moorish National Congress with all the different groups of representatives, and we can hold monthly or quarterly meetings and begin to put together a national agenda for all of us. This way, each Moorish group or whatever will maintain its own autonomy, but then we come together to put together things on a collective whole, and we form the necessary committees and so on and so forth to begin meeting with the federal government, because there's many things in place that we can take advantage of. Our reparations, all this has to be brought about, but we have to go about it in the right way. In this phase of the Moorish paradigm, the key thing is the educational campaign. To educate and register as many Moors as possible. CM Bay said once we get between 100 and 200,000 Moors, then we can begin to present our case before the government. Between 100,000 and 200,000, 144,000, that number again, which means we have to educate. And this is what I'm doing now. I really didn't plan and intend on doing no lecture circuit. I really don't want to do that. I'm really just happy just maintaining my ancestral things and doing that without this. But the ancestors want me to do this. So what we have to do now is teach this all across the country. Register in Moors, and then we need to come together and do the next steps, which is putting together actual government. And then for the next step, actually step into the United Nations, because I've been going to the United Nations in New York. I'm always going to the United Nations there. And from the year 1993 to the year 2004, they have declared the International Decade of the Aboriginal or Indigenous Peoples, which is the time when we're supposed to get back, the Aboriginal people supposed to get back everything that was taken from them. But we don't even know enough to even call ourselves Aboriginal to take advantage of this. Right. We need to be stepping to them. And I've already stepped to them, asking them what's the filing process for the Moors. And I want to start filing the Moors there and everything like that. And they was giving me the run around, but I'm hooking up some connections in there in the United Nations. I'm always up in there.
How can you tell who's the Moors? We have all these titles, African, Ethiopian, Colored, Negro.
These are sub-nationalities. All this Moor.
How would you know that you are Moor?
You're Moor. I'm looking at you, you're Moor. In reality, I'll be honest with you. The whole human family, I'm going to be honest with you, Moor is not a race or ethnic or whatever per se. Moorish or Moor is a dispensation of civilization. In reality, right now, we are in the Moorish civilization. Even though we think this is Western or European civilization, this is the Moorish civilization, only perverted by the Europeans. And so, in reality, the Moorish nation comprises the whole human family of the planet Earth. All the 12 tribes of Israel. Because the whole human family of planet Earth is the 12 tribes, because everybody on the planet Earth falls into one of the 12 zodiac signs. The 12 tribes. The 12 tribes of Israel is no more than the 12 zodiac signs. The whole key to the Bible is astrology. So therefore, the whole human family of planet Earth is Moorish. Everybody's Moorish. Now it's just a matter of whether or not you realize that or not. Everybody's Moorish. And the Europeans who you see now, they were made by our scientists for a temporary purpose, which was what? To amalgamate with us and draw out our color spectrum, the different gradations of black, to the different shades of skin, dealing with the different degrees of melanation, and dealing also with the pineal gland. And in the process of amalgamating with us, drawing our color spectrum, they were supposed to disappear as a people. But what they did was artificially preserve themselves under the Daughters of the American Revolution, Knights of Columbus, with the marriage license code laws that said that white couldn't marry black. Because in 1865, they was about to be wiped out as a people. Through amalgamation, they was about to be wiped out. It would have been only like what they call Indians left. The ones looking like Indians left. But what they did was say, oh, we about to disappear as a people here. That's why the main thing with the Ku Klux Klan numbers, you cannot mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're on their way out. That's why as Moors, we don't get caught up in hating white people and all this stuff. It's not about them. This whole race thing, they have, because they brought it up, it sort of clouds the issue of what's the real problem dealing with the evolution of the human family. The real enemy is ignorance. That's our enemy. Not white people per se. Ignorance is the enemy. Because when you're ignorant, when you don't know, you behave wrong, you do all the things wrong. You see what I'm saying? So ignorance is the enemy. This whole white issue, that's about to disappear soon. That ain't even going to be an issue no more. Let's get to the real issues involved. Yeah, all right, Brother Seaman, then the brother.
You know, it's a really good point that you make, because there was a audio tape that I got right here about this white guy. I can't think of his name. He was talking about law, and he said that the only purpose in the marriage license was to allow you to marry into your own family. And what you said was cool, because if they were about to disappear, be destroyed, the only way that they could preserve each other was to be marrying each other.
See, and just that alone shows that they are artificial race, produced by artificial means and preserved through artificial means. See, people try to say they came through albinism or from being in Europe for so many thousand years. Being in Europe and cold climates don't make you white. What about the Siberians and all the people that dark as me up there?
Because Diop even said in Alaska that they have brothers darker
Yeah,
black.
straight up. The Eskimos, or so-called Eskimos, but those are the escaped Moors, the Eskimos. That's us. All that is us, man.
And that's why they sent the brother. See what like most people don't understand. That's why they sent the brother. Who they said the brother was.
Yeah, Perry.
Because just like anything, if you want to overthrow somebody, you got to send somebody that looks like the people
That's
you're
right.
about to overthrow.
And who knew the land better than us? When all these Lewis Clark expedition, Esther Benico out in California, whenever they needed guys to get through this land, they had to come check us, because only we knew this land like the back of our hands, all up and down.
Yes, you said you don't really worry about what it is they're doing to us, but how do you deal with the fact that they have slated about 2 billion people to be killed on this earth?
Well, see,
you realize that they are in the lesser population, and how do you deal with
because our own ignorance. It's like they don't see. They was put in a position where, as long as you call yourself Negroes and all this stuff like this, they could do whatever they want to do with you. It's like the whole thing in the protocols about the Goyim and all this stuff like this, where the Goyim is not even recognized as human beings. So they could do all these things to you and have no guilt, nothing whatsoever, because they don't even consider you a human being, because you don't even know who you are. So as long as you're walking around blind, deaf, and dumb Negro, they could do whatever they want to do to you. But now when you stand forward and openly declare that you are more, now you ain't activating a whole nother thing now. And now if they try and violate you, now you have recourse, and now you putting them in a precarious position where they actually violating their oaths. There's certain things that they can't do to you as a Moor, but as long as you blind, deaf, and dumb, calling yourself this and that, they say, oh, they don't even know who they are. They just confused. You just kill them. Just get rid. Just do anything. Because a person who's ignorant is a danger to himself and others. This is why knowledge is the key. This is the age of Aquarius, which is I know. And the opposite of Aquarius is Leo, which is I will. Which means you got to combine your knowledge and you got to activate it through your will, put it into effect. In a major way, in a major way. All this comes together, and certain elders told us certain things that will go back, but all this came out of the Moorish Science Temple, and everything was really different splinter groups from that. And in actuality, I'm talking about Father Divine, Daddy Grace, all this came out of the Moorish Science Temple. All this came out from the Moors and just went its different ways